and safety does is to allow you to work in a more sustained manner, protecting yourself and protecting your environment, and at least making your work a little easier and a little more rewarding. So today, we're going to look at occupational health and safety. First, by looking at a general definition. We have here occupational health and safety refers to the promotion and maintenance of the highest degree of physical, mental, and social well-being of all workers in occupation. WHO and ILO came together and they have a more defined health and safety definition. But in a nutcase, that this is what it refers to. First is to promote good health, good safety at work.
Okay. I hear now. But I live in work now, so I live in that just now.
Okay, then you have,
I'm not going to put a plan just to listen to that man. The information. Eh, not that.
okay, the maintenance. That means maintaining yourself, maintaining your workplace in the highest degree of physical, mental, and social well-being of all workers.
Okay.
So it is important to note the word mental because occupational health and safety also deal with your mental outlook. That means your how you perceive things, your knowledge towards things, and it involves stress as well. So when we talk about occupational health and safety, we do not only refer to the physical being accident, having a cut or something, but we also look at the mental well-being of the person in the workplace, and this is very, very important. And the social well-being of the workplace, the social, how you interface with other people, how your dietary intake, your relationship at work, and these are very, very important in addressing occupational health and safety. Okay, so these are basically what we are looking at in occupational health and safety. It's a science, right, of protecting and enhancing the health of safety of people at work in their community. So it's a diverse science, and you could see it's very similar now to what is happening with the COVID and the use of masks now, because it's a holistic science. It's science involving medical. It's a science involving. It has some engineering. It has some psychological thing, and it also involved in a management process of how you look at things at work. So it refers to people within the workplace and protecting the environment. So you work in such a way that your work does not impact on the environment or on the community you serve. Okay? So what we're doing is occupational health and safety then tells you how to prevent illnesses and injury. And basically, you're looking at the hazards that may cause you to have illnesses and injury. Like hazards are biological hazards because you're exposed to virus. There's a biological hazard. Dirty water that you might get sickness, waterborne diseases. Stress, as we were telling you, is referring to stress, your physical, how you feel personally as a person. Chemicals, for instance, are very important, especially in the work you do. The use of chemicals in water purification and stuff like that. Your main physical, how in terms of light and noise and sound and these things can affect you. And ergonomically, that means that, human factor engineering, how you sit, how you stand, how you reach and think, your size, your use of equipment and material. Is your glove fitting you well? All of these things are part of exposure hazards that we are dealing with in an environment in occupational health and safety. Okay, it's a caring process, and we must emphasize the importance of it as a caring process because first of all, foremost, we want you to care for yourself, for your friends, and your neighbors, so that you can go home to your children. So if you have a good health and safety program and you follow the standard operating procedures, right? Your home, your city, community, and work environment will benefit because you're protecting one each other. So it eventually end up in a progressive environment with happy people, uh, uh, making money, a sustainable community. So this is why the caring comes into being. What are the legal implementation? First, internationally, you had the ILO. The ILO referred to occupational safety, health. Now, the importance of that is that because of the years behind the ILO doctrine of occupational health and safety, and this is more than 80 years ago when the ILO started and they were concerned about workers and workers' safety. So they was more involved with an engineering safety aspect of life. You got cut, what to do, right? Very little of the health. And then WHO came in and they added the health component. So they made health. So you can use it either way, occupational health or occupational safety. Now it's really accepted. So what they've done internationally is to link the two and call it workers' health. Okay? So right now it's a regional requirement, and it's an international requirement, a regional requirement. That means that, um, for instance, CARICOM has had the somewhat legislative provision that they have given out to the countries in order to for the countries to develop their own health and safety program. Then you have your own national requirements. Most of your countries might have legislative provisions at that time. And then you have your own professional requirement where your company divide through some their own work practices, or if they are linked up with other international organizations, that they develop codes of conduct for your good work practices. So then you have the legal structure, the Act of Parliament. In St. Lucia, we have the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Many of you in your jurisdiction would have that. Then you have the secondary law, the regulation that actually say specific things. Say specific things. Then you have your code of practice and related conventions. Now the conventions are, ILO will set out the convention how to work with asbestos, how to indoor air quality, and then you have to follow these, be signatory to these conventions, and then you have to accept these conventions and work within the framework of these conventions. Then you have your own standard, which is what we call the management practice standards, where your management system desired practical guidance on how to do things. For instance, you would have a code of conduct in which way for you to enter a sewer. And this can be set out by your own company, bearing in mind the legislative provisions and other international provisions, and then prepare a code of conduct for your own being. So all of these are the legal requirement. You find even the codes of conduct. If you have your representative, your union representative, agree on a code of conduct and acceptable by both of them, if you deviate from that, the company can have the right to tell you go down because it's an approved guideline of how to do something. Okay, they are not technically legal, but they have the requirement is such that if it's decided upon between you, your company, and your representative, it is a binding instrument. Okay, so these are very important to know. I'm going back, sorry. Okay, right. The operator and the workplace, right? The organization of work is very important, and the influence that the organization of work have on you as an individual. And this is very, very important. Let me see. Okay. Okay. What the operator brings with them to the workplace? Right. You bring in what you inherit from your parents and things like that. Your physical structure, your personal resources. You're a nice person. You are a gifted person, right? You have health practice, your beliefs, your attitudes, and your value. You bring that to work every day. And depending on the environment you come from and your surroundings, all of that makes up the value of work within the workplace. Now, what the workplace does to employer once they are there, you have to work within the framework of your organization. So both psychologically and physically, then they will have a strong influence on you because they want the money. They want you to work in order to provide the money. But they are going to use your assets to help them develop a good company. So part of use, so they will then have to give you a certain level of assurance and protection. And this is where occupational health and safety comes in as being an important aspect of the management system. Okay? What do you do as an operator? Some of you might be handling chemicals such as ammonia, chlorine to disinfect water or the liquids, right? Some of you might be inspecting equipment on a regular basis to see if it's working, monitoring operating conditions, going to do meters and gauges, collecting and testing water and sewage samples, recording meter and gauge readings, operational data, documents and report test results to regular agency, cleaning and maintenance equipment, tank, filter beds, and other work areas. You know, you might have a breakup and you need to have that water going because people want the water. So you do a very, very, very important work to both, not to the community, but to the, not to the company, but to the community. Because if they don't have water and good potable water, you are in trouble. But you do it and you do sewer maintenance, confined space entry, you operate equipment to purify and clarify water, okay, process of disposal of sewage. All of these have very implications that can, if they are not done correctly, can affect your health and the environment. Whenever you go to work, there are four basic elements we call pillars for best work practices. You as the worker, your knowledge, your attitude, your behavior, your diet, all of this is important to you as a worker because um, even your alcohol intake is important. The environment you work in, for instance, if you're going to do, if you're going to do work on a slope, a slippery slope because of a breakdown of some water water conduit, that environment perhaps is not suitable. So you have to get yourself to that environment of work. Another important part of your work is the material you use and how you use the material. So if you are disinfecting water or chlorinating water, you must understand the knowledge there. You must know about the chemicals. You must know the hazardousness involved with the chemicals, both on yourself and the environment and the storage and whole life cycle of the company. And the equipment you use are very important. The equipment you use to store water, the equipment you use to transfer the water, the quality, the physical structure of it, the integrity of it, all of these things make up the process that you are involved with every day. So there are four elements that play in the part there. You as the human, as the worker, the equipment that you use, if you use bad equipment, you'll do a bad job. If your environment is different, say for instance, they send you and do a job and it's raining heavily, it's different from if they send you and do the same job in a nice sunny day. So all of this have to be considered when you are doing your everyday work. Now let's look at the hazards to an operator, and we can talk about that at length. But let's look at some of the clips that I have here. Dangerous gases, for instance, especially if you are in wastewater, you have H2S, oxygen depletion, oxygen increase. Okay, a lot of gases coming out, carbon dioxide, and all of this gas coming from sewer and sewer gas and stuff like that. Then you have your confined space empty, your confined space entry. If you are working in sewers and be exposed to a lot of biological agents, the chemical hazards you are exposed to, falls are frequent in you because of the terrain you might be working in, where you work in. Waterborne diseases, are lots of them. Even COVID now is a waterborne disease. So you have to look at what you're doing. Animal bites, snake bites, and insects. These are animal bites, like for instance, leptospirosis from rats and stuff like that. Snake bites, if you are in an area that are prone to snakes and things like that. Drowning, you wouldn't be surprised. Some people will drown or you'd have, if you are, for instance, if you're in a waterborne disease and you have a open sewer, gush down of water, collapse of trenches, that is important, noisy, malfunction equipment, all of that are impacting on you within your work phase. Varied temperature, vibration, and radiation. And these are sometimes not even understood or realized. I have worked around and see fellows using jackhammers, electrical jackhammers, without protective headgear and or ergonomically or vibration control gloves and stuff like that. And that can be affecting them very, very bad, even giving them heart troubles. The primary route of exposure is getting the stuff into you is through inhalation and skin contact. Inhalation, the same route of exposure that oxygen gets into your body, that you use the oxygen for your energy, is the same way that gaseous materials will get into you, right? Through your nose and sometimes through your eyes, through your mouth. Then you would have your skin, the same way that your dirty water can get onto your skin, can affect you, bacteria and things like that through your skin. Things can enter through your skin, can enter through your eyes, it can enter through your mouth, and stuff like that. So one of the things that you have to do, the same way food is going into your mouth, the same way you can have dirty water going into your mouth. So when you are working in areas that are prone to get exposed to these substances, then you have to protect and prevent their entry. So you have to protect your skin, you have to protect your eyes, you have to protect your nose, you have to protect your mouth from things getting in onto you. Okay, now inhalation, the nose, throat, and upper respiratory tract. Secondary areas are the eyes and the lower respiratory tract. So you get air stripping from wastewater, just flying bubbles, aeration, right? Dewatering processes will have you inhaling substances. Exposure to chemicals while removing debris from treatment plant equipment. Drying and compacting incineration. Workers working near where outfalls and aerated tanks. So all of this will cause you to inhale things that are being produced by these things. Skin contact. You are more likely to get contact dermatitis or allergic dermatitis, where it keeps occurring and it's more um, systematic. It gets into you and it will affect you slowly and slowly. Whereas the contact with something gets on your skin, stays there, and you can put an ointment or something like that, but it has not been inside systematic. So all of these things are things that you can be exposed to. Apart from that, you can get cuts, scratch, falling, things like that, that can affect your whole work process. Everybody there with me? Okay, the most common specific pathogen exposure. Now, here we go. And this is well researched, and it's there. And what most jurisdictions do is, before a tetanus is always given, test for tetanus, there's a certain amount of tests that you do as part of your work. Either your company will want to do it annually, or they'll want to do it every 2 years, depending on what your stuff do. So you might get Mycobacterium tuberculosis, fecal streptococcus, gastroenteritis, right? Even the retroviruses you heard of. Infectious hepatitis, this is relatively common in our part of the area. But the thing about that, they lie dormant. Serum hepatitis, not that much. Um, Even if you can see the coronavirus there as part of the, you can be exposed to coronavirus in your workplace. For instance, if somebody is you go and fix some outside water outlet from a toilet, and the person was known to have infected with the COVID-19. Well, the disease is COVID-19. I forget the name of the. So I'm trying to think of it. Anyway, the virus. Okay, so you have poliomyelitis, or some salmonella, all these typhoid fevers.
Oh, no. Come over now, you talk what?
Hello, somebody has their mic on. Please, somebody, you have your mic on. Please turn it off. You're giving us some serious competition, and I'm trying to identify who it is to switch them off. Go ahead, Mr. Magloire.
So you could see we are at your workplace. You are exposed to a lot of specific pathogens that can actually lead you to a lot of disorders. You know, and one of the things that your workplace need to protect you, and you yourself have to protect yourself against, is this, because in the soil you would have very amount of bacteria and other.
Sorry, sir. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
You
No,
muted the speaker.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The speaker is muted.
Right. Sorry, I'm back. Sorry, I'm back. Can you hear me now? Okay. The rights and responsibility in the workplace. This is very, very important. Most jurisdiction, when you have a health and safety program in place, you have to give certain rights and responsibility to the worker and to the different department heads and supervisors. But you yourself, as an operator, you have 4 basic rights within an occupational health and safety setting. Okay, for instance, the right to know. If you're going to do a job, what most jurisdictions tell you, you should have the right to know what you're going to do. So if you're going to lift up a bag of a bag of flour, you must know that the bag of flour has certain weight, or else you might uh, hurt your back. Okay, so the law makes it that in such a way that you have the right to know whatever you're going to do. You have the right to participate in meetings, in safety work, right? As well, you have the right to refuse work. And this is an important thing. If you are aware that the work you're going to do is detrimental to your health or to the health of your neighbors, the law makes it in such a way that, okay, you feel it's going to be bad, but you have to do it in a certain way that you have to report it and they have to investigate it and before they can actually, but no one can force you to do what you shouldn't, you do not want to do because of a health and safety situation. Because of a health and safety situation. If you feel that your health is going to be compromised or your safety is going to compromise, you have to a right to bring it up. Most jurisdiction will give you that power. The right to refuse dangerous work. This is the same thing. If you know that that work is going to, the chances of the excavator is going to fall off the cliff, you have a right for protection from discriminatory action. So that means that if you say you're not going to do the work, they cannot fire you unless they have a good reason for sending you home. So all of these things are important. And this, most of the law, when they were being framed, all of these things were important in it to protect you if you believe in occupational health and safety, if you want occupational health and safety to work. So when you look at responsibilities in the workplace, who responsibility? Okay, most jurisdictions have what is called the internal responsibility system. You, as an operator, is responsible for the abilities. The general manager has the overall responsibility. The HR manager have a certain responsibility, and all of them have certain duties. The manager has certain duties. He has to provide you with the required training. He has to provide you with protective clothing. He has to make sure that your standard operating procedures are in keeping with the procedures, right? They have to provide you water, sanitary position, and everything like that to keep you healthy. So everybody within the framework of the law has a form of responsibility. Okay? So this okay. Now, the general manager responsible for the overall company performance, the head of department, or if you have an occupational health and safety officer, is responsible for maintaining the effectiveness of the agent's health and safety policy. If you have a policy within your jurisdiction, the department supervisor is responsible for ensuring adherence to health and safety, and the employer, you have to be responsible for doing the work safely and doing it following the required standard. So these are the main employer's responsibility with respect to health and safety, the provision and maintenance of the plant, the system of work that are safe and without risk to health. This includes supplying all necessary protective clothing. Most jurisdictions will tell you that you do not have to pay. It's mandated by law that the people give you the protective clothing and give you protective clothing that is sound and secure. Okay, and this is very important. You have to know that you are handling things properly, your things are being stored properly, and for instance, if you have chemicals where it's stored, it's not exposed to light, it's in water, they have to provide you information and instruction, training, and supervision as necessary for the health and safety of workers. What some companies do, they make sure that they have the budget health and safety programs and budget for health and safety within the management system, the general management system. So they know certain people are aware and they are trained into health and safety within a certain level to understand. And some companies I know I've done work with, that is part of the promotion, that how many people, how many hours did they special training. Okay, one of the important things that you have to be given is provision of adequate facility and arrangement for healthcare at work. They do that different ways in different companies. They either you have a fund where you can have money for somebody who's sick, or you can have monthly or annual giveaways or something, or scholarship for children and things like that. So all of these things are something to help motivate the worker, but it's a requirement within some jurisdiction that these things are met. Responsibility with respect to health and safety. You must all follow safe work procedures, use all devices, PPE required by the employer or the regulation, consult and cooperate with the safety and health officer. So what they're telling you here now is that you have a duty as an employer, as an employee, to follow the employer's rule and regulation, as long as it's in line with the health and safety and the policy, right? So you have, with you, in order to ensure good work practice, right, you have to ensure your place of work is safe, so that when you are coming in safe, you are leaving safe. It's protected and closed. Nobody cannot come in. You know, some workplaces, some people will just walk in and want to knock somebody out or something like that. The onus is on the company to make sure that nobody can get into your workplace to fight with you. And this is within the law. Neither do you have to bring anybody in the workplace to disturb the people work. Another one is the safe use of electricity. You have to be trained and use electric properly. Fire precaution is important when you're doing your work, especially people who go out and use things that involve fire cutting and LPG gas and stuff like that. The safety signs and signals, you have to be trained in, especially people that work in the community, working out, have to have your cones, where you put your traffic cones, how many traffic cones you have, the signs that you have on your vehicle. You are working there, you must have safety signs and signals. Use of work equipment, reporting your equipment, cleaning and maintenance your equipment, this is it. And manual handling is very important. How do you lift things? Your reach, your chair, your sit down, these are very, very important use. Use and management of your PPE. If they give you your shoes, for instance, and they tell you that shoes should last 6 months, right? When you go home, you have to take care of that shoe, to give it a little bit of, to break down, a little soft candle, a little polish, a little thing. And it's your work shoe. Some people normally use it differently because the company gave you the shoe for work. So when you get home, you change your shoe. On your way home, so you change your shoe. And working at heights is in your company is in your jurisdiction, very important, because a lot of you might be working at heights, and you have to learn the techniques in climbing ladders and heights. Another one, you might be coming a lot because of asbestos. Most of our countries, but one time we use asbestos piping, asbestos covering, and things like that, and not all the asbestos has been done away with. So you will be coming in contact with asbestos, and prepare yourself to know how to manage it properly. And these are just some standard work procedures that you have to bear in mind when you're out there in the field working. Okay, your personal safety for yourself and for others. Goggles. When do you use goggles? What type of goggles you want? Full face covering, partial covering, plastic, high density plastic goggles, cup shaped goggles. All of these things can be a requirement depending on who is doing your risk assessment and what type of job you're doing. Gloves, for instance, is another important area. Now, for instance, if those of you who are working in very out all the time, you might need to use 3 types of gloves, and you might only use one. Give you one. You have soft touch gloves, metal thin gloves to hold and grip things properly. Gloves that can be used in wet environments. All of these things are very important in using the protective equipment. Your hat, your cap, your protective helmet. What you need your protective helmet for. Even if you're going down a sewer, what type of helmet you need. Okay, we are extremely high temperature. So what you do is that the temperature can affect the structural integrity of the helmet, right? Depending on the type of helmet it is when you buy it. You have to read the information that comes within the inside of the helmet, because of the hot sun, that can actually make, if something knocks it, it can get so brittle because of the exposure to the hot sun. This is why it's advisable not to put your helmet in the back of your car where sun can hit on it. And your boots is another important area because of the sort of work you do. And some boots are covered with protective, you have protective pads over the shoes, depending where you are, what you're going to do, how far you are, the possibility of stones falling on it. And your overall is important, and how do you use your overall, and when it's given. Something I have here that where a lot of people you need, because a lot of you do bending and on your knees and stuff like that, and you need knee guards, and there are various types of knee guards that can be used. Things there, the earmuffs as well, and basically your respiratory protection depending where you work and how you work. I have here just this sort of thing. Those that are going into sewer, you might need scuba, self-contained breathing apparatus. You might just have an ordinary breathing mask, or you can have your something like the mask that is there, your simple dust mask, depending on where you are working and what you're going to do. Okay, respiratory protection is very important, because right now this is one of the ways that the COVID get into you. That's why we all wearing masks at the moment, because we're trying to protect the respiratory system. This thing just skip. Okay, before the job, your toolkit meeting. A toolkit meeting would expect to take about 10-15 minutes. If you have a group, you're going to do a job, they assign 3 or 4 fellas, you have to have certain understanding of the job. You have to know what to do. So it should become part of your everyday professional life. Talks are meant to make you aware of the potential dangers of the task to minimize the hazard. So you have to know, okay, do you all have your protective clothing ready? What sort of protective clothing you have? What sort of equipment you are going to use? Where are you going to use your equipment? Was I heavy in alcohol last night? Should I go down the sewer? All of these things are part of your toolkit meeting, right? And it is very, very, very important to do your talk before you start your work. What's that? Right. Okay, I got it. Okay. The importance of your toolkit meeting, it helps you identify your needs, develop your confidence, minimize accidents and incidents, and reduce loss of equipment and material. So you know what you came with, you know what you're going back with. The step, choose the correct equipment and material for the task, work team guided, inspect the tools to be used, your PPE required, inspect them and correct them, scheduling time for the task to be completed, access and transportation, and group discussion. All of these things is important. How you look at your tools. It's important to look at your tools before you start, to find out if it's electrically, if it's ground properly, what bits you need, what type of blades you have for cutting. Okay, your guards, what type of protection you need. If you have leaking gasoline, oil, or other fluids. Tool appearance to be in poor condition. Even look, a hammer, for instance, is important. You know, do you have a mushroom hammer? You know, how good is your hammer? So you have to ensure all of these things are good. Then you have your group discussion. Okay. All right. And last but not least, sorry, is addressing the COVID-19 situation. One of the things that we should always remember is limiting sharing of tools. Don't pass me that, pass me that. So because of the COVID now, we have to reduce on the sharing of tools, right? Now the use of protective clothing and protective masks and stuff like that. When do you use it? When do you not use it? In what company you are? Your equipment disinfecting equipment. This is when you finish. How do you disinfect your equipment? Washing with soap and water and spraying with alcohol-based sanitizer. All of these things. Washing your hand with soap and water. What most companies do is to carry with them a container with water, and they have soap and they have a towel. So they finish the job, they have a running water, and you can actually wash. So all of these things are happening because of addressing COVID-19. And your social distances at work on the job, it is necessary. So you know of your your distance. You're now using your social distancing within the work. But it's very difficult to do social distancing when you're four of you going in a vehicle and you go to do a job. So then it is advisable. So while you're driving, to wear your mask. When you get to the workplace, you decide on who's doing what, who's doing what. Then you can choose to take your mask out depending on who and how far you are from one another. And to tell you, thank you very much. I think I've done it. So if there any questions that you'd like to put to me, I'll be happy to answer.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Magloire. I should tell our participants again that it's their time to ask any questions. Just to remind for those of you who came in late that Mr. Lesmond Magloire is a consultant in environmental health and occupational hygiene with over 35 years of extensive regional and international experience. He is formerly been with the CAFA, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, formerly known as CEHI. He has served in senior technical officer responsible for environmental health assessment in the Department of Sustainable Development and Environmental Health. Mr. Magloire holds a BSc in Chemistry and Biological Sciences, combined honors from King's College, University of London, and a postgraduate certificate in occupational hygiene. He has had additional extensive training with the University of the West Indies in environmental health and in project management with the Caribbean Development Bank. And he has also had fellowships with the Government of Canada at Dalhousie University and Health Canada in occupational health and safety, environmental toxicology, and toxic chemical management. So I invite you to ask questions if you should have any. I saw earlier on in the chat, we had a question from someone from Dominica. I think that was from Ezekiel. If you want to ask it yourself, you may please go along. I will unmute your mic and you can proceed with the question directly if you want to engage him further. Go ahead, Ezekiel.
You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I was saying that in Dominica, the sanitation crew, these guys, they receive their medical checkup every year and their shots and so on. So I was asking the guys who deals, the treatment officers who deals with the chlorine gas and the ammonia, shouldn't this be given to them as well?
Yeah, what they should do, they should do a test called your lung density test. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah, where they go to a doctor and the doctor do a baseline, find out your lung capacity, and every 6 months they do that to find out if you are low enough. Now that would if you're smoking, that will affect your lung capacity. Okay, because what the chlorine does is, because it's caustic, and you might be inhaling little things of it, will actually, the lining of the soft tissue of the respiratory tract will be affected by the chlorine. Okay, so what you then it makes your lung capacity, it affects your lung capacity. So if you starting to work and you have your lung capacity test, then you will take. The ammonia does the same thing as well. So one of the things that are important in addressing chlorine is to be trained effectively in the use and management of chlorine, because you will be more aware of the hazards that affect in chlorine. One of the problems I find seen along is that your respiratory protection for chlorine use and chlorine management, where the people put it and how they're not taking care of it. So you lose the respirator loses its potential to protect you properly. You understand? Because you have to put it back in the way, in the little bag. Make sure you clean it. Make sure you sweat, because your sweat contains a little bit of salt, right? And the rubber or the plastic along your face, that can be affected. So you can make it a little bit light, like, so it loses that capacity to fully meet your face. You understand? You might not realize that, but some little chlorine is passing and you are inhaling the chlorine that is passing. So this is one of the things that you do. But there should also be the lung capacity test. Go to your hospital. I've done some work in Dominica, and I'm aware of your situation. But that should be one of the tests that you should take, because with chlorine, you cannot say, okay, I'm going to check the amount of chlorine in your blood. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But it can potentiate other diseases because of its caustic thing. But so is ammonia. So you have to relate the cause and the effect. But the best way to do it is to make sure that your lung capacity is not being reduced because of the exposure to chlorine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? I think there was a second one. No, there was somebody had asked one. I think Mr. Gill had asked about COVID-19. What PPE would you recommend? Are you there, Mr. Gill? You may proceed with your question. Yeah, I'm not seeing him. But the question was, in light of COVID-19, what PPE would you recommend to stop, to safeguard operators involved with wastewater?
Right, that's a nice question. Apart from the protocol, which established protocol posted by WHO, polystyrene gloves, big heavy plastic gloves you can get. This is ideally, it is very, very good. And N95. Now, sometimes I'm getting feedback. Sometimes you use the respirator, and the double cartridge respirator. Now, it takes in and it cleans air, but you throw out the old air through the respirator. And sometimes you can use that because the air comes out slowly and can be diluted. One of the things they find, and the finding is now, is that you have three types of like coming out of your mouth or your nose or your nostril. You have the droplets, you have the aerosolized thing, and you have little particles. Now, the droplets will just drop, or if you have a mask, or ordinary face mask without N95 masks, what it will happen, it will block it, sort of make it so it sticks in in the mass itself. So is breathing. But some of the particles will come out. But because of they're coming out slower, you are looking at the, depending on the humidity, temperature, and pressure outside, might cause it to fall or drop. But when they are falling, right, some of them might, because they are a fatty outside layer, they might get melted and they might just fall on something next to you. And you not knowing that they fall, you might put your hands on it and then affected. Most of the people who are being affected by COVID, not from directly inhaling virus containing material, but actually putting their hands on um, things like paper, things like desks, things like metal, and then wiping their nose with it or cleaning their mouth with it without washing their hands. So the idea, that's a good protection. Full body clothing is important. A long sleeve shirt is important. That's a normal thing that if you want to use protective clothing, your overall, uh, a long sleeve shirt, your boots. And one of the important things is that if the virus is on you, when you're taking out this clothing, that you can actually pollute the environment close to you. So you must learn. Another important factor is how you take out these clothes. So for you not to have it contaminating your near air. Okay, so you have your protective clothing, you have your covered right through, you have your respirator, N95 respirator, you have your heavy gloves, your um, polyethylene gloves and heavy gloves. You're well covered in. But you have to work, especially in our hot sun. You have to program a time scheduling. For instance, I wouldn't expect you in that hot sun with all this protective clothing on to work over a 2-hour shift because you will be sweating. Then you put yourself in more danger. So you have to relax, do a half an hour, then stop somebody else. So then your body is not being overheated and being and compromised exposure. Okay.
Right, next question. I think we have a question here from Mr. Andre Kessnell of eCohesion. If you are there, I'd prefer if you ask yourself, just to get you to participate. Otherwise, I can ask for you. You can proceed.
Yes, hello. If you can hear me all right.
Yeah, we can hear you,
my
sir.
question, thank you. My question was compared to other viruses that operators we can contract through contact with wastewater, such as hepatitis and the ones that you mentioned, is COVID-19, the coronavirus, are we any more likely to, is the risk higher with coronavirus than compared to other viruses?
Right now, the risk is higher because we are not fully understanding how a lot about the coronavirus. A lot of research is being done. Now they are saying even they have come across it in dead body. You understand? They have also come across it in sewage water. Now they're advising you to cover your sewage. You understand what I mean? So because we are still unfolding the chemistry and the history of it, so it is more dangerous than something you already know about. And the majority of the ones that are spoken about, we know. So this is why we have to be more protective in ourselves against the COVID. Because, for instance, you have parasymptomatic and you have asymptomatic. So you have somebody who have already gone through, had it and already gone through and then can give it. Or then you have somebody who has it and don't know they have it. Whereas if, like typhoid, you'd be in the hospital, you finish, you give, you understand what I mean? So I would feel now, that's a very good question. And my answer to that is because of the horses are still out. They are still researching on information. It's a new disease. We cannot put it in any category like the ones we have had, and we have assured ourselves of how to protect ourselves from. So this is why we are emphasizing a strong standard of protection like the soap and water. Why the soap and water? A lot of people will ask the question, why soap? You understand? Because what happens with the soap is that soap has an oily side and a watery side. You know, and what it does is that it binds the the virus and actually breaks and open the virus. And this is why we are telling you to use soap. Very similar to the alcohol 70%, ethyl alcohol 70%, because of soaps, we call it electrophilic, hydrophilic and electrophilic ends of the soap. So this is when when you drop a little bit of oil in water, you see the oil spreading apart, and it does the same to that. So this is why the encouragement is to use soap and water. Uh, uh, Train yourselves to prevent no you eating. When you eating, wash your hands properly. Protect your eye, because now they're saying every exposed place of your body, for instance, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, are portals of entry. So we have to be careful uh, with that. So right now, because the research and the evidence is still so far out, we have to regard it as the potential danger is higher than the rest that have been identified. You see my point of view?
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Right, thank you. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but feel free to have others if anyone has questions, please proceed. Well, this has been a pretty good presentation. I think Mr. Magloire used quite a bit of the time to elaborate the topic, and we trust that it was useful to you. We will continue on a weekly basis to inform you of our webinar, our next topic. We will send it out pretty early before this weekend is over, and so that you can register. And feel free to send us an email so that we have your contacts and we could keep you in our mailing group. And please share with your colleagues at work, because we have a pretty good package for this series of webinars. And also to remind you that we will be continuing very shortly to host another in our series with the tutorials and water distribution level 1 for operators who would wish to prepare for taking the ABC certification examinations. Those of you who did in the first cohort, and who are on this webinar this afternoon, we're just reminding you to please contact your HR managers if you're ready to take the exams, and also to send an email to Mrs. Suzanne Joseph at sjoseph@cawasa.org. I have put all our contact information in the chat room. And so you can send us an email so we can log you in and get you registered for the exam. And those of you who want to continue participating in our series of webinars, again, we ask you to look up our website. We will be posting the recording on our website. And hopefully we should do the same on our Facebook page. So if there are no further questions, we will thank you again for your participation, and like to again thank Mr. Lesmond Magloire for his excellent presentation, and hope that you enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you very much, and we are going to sign off until next week.
You finished? There was a hand clapping on there.
Well, they can use the chat room. I can unmute everybody now,
okay.
Because
Thank you.
We spend a lot of time showing
somebody has a question. Somebody has a question? We are not quite getting you. Okay, no.
How do we collect our CEUs?
Oh, how do you collect your CEUs? For those of you who have done, you can send us an email, and Susan will be able to give you that information directly. Send us an email. I'm gonna type it in the chat again. It's sjoseph at CAWASA.org. Okay. Or you can send it to me at aija@kawasa.org. Okay, and we will respond to you accordingly. Yes, the CEUs matter for those of you who have to do your renewal. So Susan will do the calculations of the number of credits and send you some or we will keep a track of it so that you will be kept current when you do your renewals. Good observation.
I just want to say thanks again, Mr. McGaw.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to sign off. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. You too.